right now, just because I know some people, it seems to me, some people did not get a chance to read the article, to catch everyone up, to make sure we're all, on the same page, and we're all able to have an intelligent conversation about this particular piece. I'm going to go ahead and read it, and we're going to read it together really quickly. After we read it, we'll discuss our self-analysis. You guys will have to give me an introduction paragraph before you leave with your self-analysis, and then I'll give you the purpose proven paragraphs handout. I'll explain it to you, and I'll let you guys do that for homework. Okay? That will be your only homework assignment. All right, so let's start. Should we snake it? Let's snake it. No, popcorn. Okay. Let's snake it. We're gonna go like this. Everyone's gonna read a paragraph. If your paragraph is only one line, read 2 paragraphs or 2 lines. You're right.
That way.
You're right. The back didn't get a chance.
Don't start over.
We're gonna start there. It's not that bad. Small change by the revolution will not be tweeted. I'm gonna go this way, like a snake. You're right. They didn't get a chance to read. They're right. So go ahead, babe. Take it away. So I'll do the introduction. This is from Animals of Innovation. Of course, innovation means something that is creative, something that starts because of someone's idea. So if you're innovative, you're very creative. So this came from, Annals of Innovation. It was in October. It was on October 4th, 2010, issued. And of course, the piece is entitled "Small Change: Why the Revolution Will Not Be Tweeted" by Malcolm Gladwell. And it's in the New Yorker. Go ahead, Beck. Take it away.
Small change. At 4:30 in the afternoon, on Monday 1st, 1960, 4 college students sat down at the lunch counter at Woolsworth in downtown Greensboro, North Carolina. There were freshmen at North Carolina A&T and that college an hour or so away. Oh, AT&T? I said that? A&T. I can't even see. Oh, okay. I'd like a cup of coffee, please.
Easy.
What? Oh, I'm sorry. I'd like a cup of coffee, please. One of the 4, Ezel Blair, said to the waitress.
All right, so let's first, he's setting up the setting for us, right? Or he's giving us the setting of the particular piece. He starts with the story, a narrative, before he gets into his main argument. So yes, this is an essay, but he starts with the narrative. The story starts with a lot of descriptive details. It's about 4:30 in the afternoon. It's a Monday, February 1st, 1960s, in the heart of what era? What time period? Civil rights movement, like right in the heart of the civil rights era, or when a lot of civil rights movements were starting, beginning, finishing up, and all of that. So it starts right then, and then we have a group of students who sit down. They're freshmen at a black college, so that means they are what? Black. They must be black. Could be the HBCU. Maybe not, we don't know, but they're at a black college. And then he sits down and he says, "I'd like a cup of coffee, please." No disrespect and all. However, he says this to the waitress. And keep going. Next, Kiara.
Kiara,
Girl. Make sure next time you come to class like Wednesday. If you miss Tuesday, did you miss Tuesday? Make sure you come like Wednesday. Okay, so you can be on the same page. Keep going, sweetie.
Okay. I'm Mariah.
Oh, sorry. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Mariah. I'm sorry. Mariah.
We don't serve Negroes here, she replied. The Woolworth lunch counter was a long L-shaped bar that could sit 60 people with a stand-up snack bar at one end. The seats were for whites. The snack bar was for blacks. Another employee, a black woman who worked at the steam table, approached the students and tried to warn them away. "You're acting stupid, ignorant," she said. They didn't move. Around 5:30, the front doors to the store were locked. The 4 still didn't move. Finally, they left by a side door. Outside, a small crowd had gathered, including a photographer from the Greensboro Record I'll be back tomorrow with my A&T college, one of the students said.
Alright, so now we have the scene. Black kids sitting at a white counter that serves whites only at that particular counter. They were supposed to go to like the side or the back to get their snacks. Even an employee who worked there who had to be black or like, you're acting ignorant, what are you doing? So then they still didn't move. They go outside, there's a lot of people there, the crowd had gathered, and they're like, we'll be back. Next.
By next morning, the protest had grown to 27 men and 4 women, most from the same dormitory as the original 4. The men were dressed with suits and ties. The students had brought their schoolwork and studied as they sat at the counter. On Wednesday, students from Greensboro Negro Secondary School, Ridley High, joined in, and the number of protesters swelled to 80. By Thursday, the protesters numbered 300, including 3 white women from the Greensboro campus of the University of North Carolina. By Saturday, the sit-in had reached 600. People spilled out onto the street. White teenagers waved Confederate flags. Someone threw a firecracker. At noon, the A&T football team arrived. Here comes the wrecking crew, one of the white students shouted.
Alright, now we're setting up more scenes. More people are coming. It's getting bigger. It's lasting longer. Does sound like a definite revolution. So next. Huh?
Sounds like it's current.
Kind of sounds a little current. Let's see. Keep going. By the following Monday, students had spread to Winston, South Carolina, 25 miles away, and you're 115 miles away. The day after that, students at Fayetteville State Teaching College and at Johnson C.C. College in Charlotte joined us, followed on Wednesday by students at St. Augustine's College in Charlotte State in Raleigh. It's like a weird way to say it, but Raleigh. On Thursday and Friday, the protests crossed state lines, surfacing in Hampton, Portsmouth, Virginia, and Rock Hill, South Carolina, and in Chattanooga, Tennessee. By the end of the month, there were cities throughout the South, as far west as Texas. I asked every student I met what the first day the sit-downs had been like on the campus. The political theorist Michael Walter wrote in Dissent. The answer was always the same. It was like a fever. Everyone wanted to go. Some 70,000 students eventually took part. Thousands were arrested and untold thousands more radicalized. These events in the early 60s became civil rights war that engulfed the South for the rest of the decade. And it happened without email, texting, Facebook, or Twitter. And it happened without emailing, texting, Facebook, or Twitter. So what can we say immediately that about this author's, or the person who wrote the text, ideas about emailing, texting, Facebook, or Twitter? Are they positive or negative? Negative. Seem like they already have a negative view about those particular aspects. This is a revolution. That was a real revolution that happened in the 1960s, and it happened without emailing, texting, Facebook, or Twitter, without these social media outlets. So let's see, this is just his particular argument, but he's already setting it up for us. Okay, next.
The world there is held in the midst of revolution. The new tools of social media have
Reinvented
social activism. With Facebook and Twitter and the like, the traditional relationship between people and political people popular role has been obtained with local leaders for the colonists to collaborate, communicate, and get thousands of protesters took place. Typically in Moldova in the spring of 2009, the protests against the country's communist government. The action was dubbed the Twitter Revolution because of the meaning of demonstrators had been brought together. A few months after that, when the students' protest blocked Tehran, the State Department took the unusual step of asking Twitter to suspend scheduled issuances of its website because the administration didn't want such a critical organizing tool out of service at the height of demonstration. Without Twitter, people of Iran would not have felt empowered and confident to stand up for freedom and democracy. Mark.
Fight. The P silent. Fight.
FIFO, a former nation security
National.
Just a former calling for Twitter to be nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize. Where activists were once defined, their cause are now defined by their tools.
Alright, stop. So now we get that little hint right there. He gives us two examples of, he gives us his first statement. The world, we are told, is in the midst of a revolution, right? Because he even said it, kind of sounds current, right? It says the new tools of social media have reinvented social activism. So then he gives us a specific example that happened in Tehran with Twitter. And people are going, basically, they're using Twitter to basically protest something. But he said now they want Twitter to have a Nobel Peace Prize instead of, that was the tool that they used to protest. So he's like, that's not necessarily the actual protest. That's not the actual, you still have to stand up. Twitter is just the tools that you get the word out there, but not necessarily, God bless you, the protest itself or the cause itself. So he says we're now being defined by our tools versus our cause. Keep going.
Facebook warriors go online to wish for change. You're the best hope for us all, James K. Glassman, former senior State Department official, told the crowd of cyber activists at the recent conference sponsored by Facebook, AT&T, Comcast, MTV, Google, sites like Facebook. Glassman said, give the U.S. a significant competitive advance over terrorists. Some time ago, I said that
Al-Qaeda
Al-Qaeda was eating our lunch on the internet. That is no longer the case. Al-Qaeda is studied on the web 1.0. The internet is now about interactivity and conversation.
Alright, so it's setting up his argument. Keep going.
These are strong and puzzling claims. What is matter is eating food on the internet? Are people who log onto their Facebook page going to their social followers? Ask them
Very good.
critics point out that Twitter had scant internal significance in Moldova, a country where very few Twitter accounts. Nor does it seem to have been a revolution, not least because of protests, as in Africa suggested in the Washington Post. They will have been a bit of a stagecraft, which does have something. In the country, paranoid about Romanian
Revanchism.
the protesters flew a Romanian flag over the parliament building. In the Iranian case, the law of the people speaking about the demonstrators were almost all Americans. It is time to get Twitter's role in events in Iran now. Golnaz is there something?
Diari.
Ferrari wrote this past summer in foreign policy. Simply put, there is no Twitter revolution inside Iran. The cadre of prominent bloggers like Andrew Sullivan, who championed the role of social media Aragon continued misunderstood the situation. Western journalism is clearly what didn't bother me. People on the ground in Iran simply scroll through the English language tweets posted at hashtag Iran election through it all. No one seemed to wonder why people trying to coordinate protests in Iran would be writing in any language other than Farsi.
So of course a little bit of sarcasm right there, but the idea is some people are even misunderstanding the revolutions that are going on outside of the country because all they're doing is just seeing little things and they're putting things like hashtag Iran election. But at the same time, it goes deeper than that, and I believe that's what the author is trying to set that up. That it's deeper than that, and he's going to give you his opinion as to why. Next, grandiosity. Solipsist.
They often want to cram every stray fact in its phrase into their new model. As a historian,
So wait. So you guys remember from your vocabulary word what solipsist are? You kind of like to think you know everything. What's the root word in that? Solo. So if I go solo most of the time, what am I doing? So, huh? I'm doing my own thing, right? So some of the words you guys can kind of like figure out what they mean just by looking at them. But he's basically saying that most of the time, innovators tend to be like egotists. They tend to think it's all about them and their ideas and what they want to say to the world. All right. Keep going.
As a historian, Robert Godfrey has written, the marvels of communication, technology, and the present have produced false consciousness about the past. Even it seems that communication has no history or had nothing important to consider before the days of television and the internet. But there is something else at work here, and the outside enthusiasm and social media. 50 years after one of the most extraordinary episodes in social upheaval in American history, we seem to have forgotten about activism.
What activism is. So the idea is, he's just saying like, there's this really, and a lot of people probably like, I think you guys will get it, or you get it in this sense. You thought you knew everything when you were like 10. Then you lived 4 more years and you're like, oh my God, I really didn't know that much while I was 10. But while you were 10, you couldn't tell you anything. You thought you knew everything. Same thing with him. He's saying like most people, they're innovative. They tend to be people who think they're self, they know everything. And then it's like they're forgetting what activism was back in the day, or what the true tenets of activism were. Does that make sense? All right, keep going.
Greensboro in the early 1960s was the kind of place where racial
Insubordination.
insubordination was proudly met with
Routinely.
routinely met with violence.
Stop right there. He just says, think about it. Nowadays, people disobey, and it's not necessarily always brought with violence. Sometimes, even in today's society, it's like the bad guy is kind of like the hero. Everyone's like, oh yeah, that thug, let's talk about stealing everybody's stuff. That's the man, you know what I mean? But like back in the day, such aspects were looked at like that's negative. That's the best you can do. That's all you can do is be a gangster. But nowadays, everybody wants to be gangster, right? So it's saying in the early 60s, that type of insubordination, especially racial insubordination, when somebody was talking back or disrespecting a person that was white or, you know, like a superior, it was met with violence routinely or whatever. Nowadays, it is still met with violence in a sense, but then again, think about what we can say behind closed doors, you know? Even that was like faux pas back in the day. People were afraid to even say some of the things that we are like, you know, saying nowadays, if that makes sense. Not that that's good, not that that's bad, but he's just saying back in the day, it was always met with violence. Keep going.
The 4 students who first sat down at the lunch counter were terrified. I suppose if anyone had come up behind me and yelled boo, I think I would have fallen out of my seat, one of them said later. On the first day, the store manager notified the police chief, who immediately sent out 2 officers to the store. On the third day, a gang of white toughs showed up at the lunch counter and stood
Ostentatiously
behind the protesters, muttering
epithets
such as burrhead, nigger. A local Ku Klux Klan leader made an appearance on Saturday as tensions grew. Someone called in a bomb threat and the entire store had to evacuate.
So now he's just describing this really tense scene. Like this was something that was really like you just don't do back in the day. So they're taking a step that is very dangerous, very, you know, like brave in this particular time period. They had white people in their face. They had a gang of evil white toughs, as they call it, standing at them ostentatiously, like they're like, I'm there to show you guys, like, you know, if you want it, you can have it, type of thing. You have them, they're evilly, like, because omnious means like very evilly muttering epithets, like they're saying little mean things to them, giving them these like terms of abuse. than the local Ku Klux Klan member. At the time of the 60s, this is like you're staring death right in the face, if that makes sense. So he said, if anyone had even said boo, he probably would just fell. Like, it was like they had to be strong inside. And I know we watch movies like Selma, and we see them actually preparing for things like this. But sometimes you can prepare, but there's nothing like when it's right in your face, if that makes sense. That's even scarier. So just imagine how afraid they had to be to make this change or start this revolution. All right, next.
The dangers were even closer in the Mississippi Freedom Summer Project of 1964, another of the sentinel campaigns of the Civil Rights Movement. The Student Nonviolent Coordinator Committee recruited hundreds of northern, largely white unpaid volunteers to run freedom schools, register black voters, and raise civil rights awareness in the Deep South. No one should go anywhere alone, but certainly not in an automobile, and certainly not at night, they urged. Within days of arriving in Mississippi, these volunteers, Michael Lyman, James Cheney, and Andrew Goodman, were kidnapped and killed, and during the rest of the summer, 37 black churches were set on fire and dozens of safe houses were bombed. Volunteers were being shot at, arrested, and trailed by pickup trucks full of armed men. A quarter of those in the program dropped out. Activism that challenged the status quo that attacked the Deeply Rooted program.
Deeply rooted problems.
Deeply rooted problems is not for the faint of heart.
So he says, first of all, if we're thinking about what activism truly is, no disrespect to people who use social media, but if we're really thinking about what activism truly is, it has to challenge the status quo, or it has to challenge the way things are supposed to be. And it's not for the faint of heart. It means you can be killed at any moment. To him, that's what true activism is. The idea that it's dangerous, and if you're weak, hey, you might drop out. You gotta be tough. All right, next.
What makes people capable of this kind of activism? Stanford does make Adam compared to Freedom Summer dropouts with the participants instead, and discovered that the key difference wasn't, as might be expected, ideological framework.
Very good.
All the applicants, participants, and withdrawals.
Wait, let's stop there. Ideological fervor is just like being super passionate about something. And he says it's not even just that. And he's going to tell you why it's not just being super duper passionate about something. Yes?
I thought it was fervor.
That's what we just said.
You said fervor.
Said that. Maybe, right, maybe you're not, yeah, maybe it's one of those things. Keep going. But it's not for the faint language. It's not for the faint of heart. You have to be, just being intensely passionate about something is not enough. And he's going to tell you why. Keep going.
All the applicants, participants, and withdrawals alike emerge as highly committed, articulate supporters of the goals and values of the summer program.
So first off, everybody who volunteered for the program, they were very outspoken, they were very committed, they were very in support of that particular time period and the civil rights movement and the things that needed to be changed. They were very much so they really wanted it. Keep going.
What mattered more was the applicant's degree of personal connection to the civil rights movement. While the volunteers were required to provide a list of personal contacts with people they wanted to keep apprised of their activities, and participants were far more likely than dropouts to have close friends who were also going to Mississippi. IRS activism with Adams included with a strong tie.
So now that's his first argument. What does activism need to be? First of all, it can't be for the faint of heart. You have to be really passionate about something, but it's not just being passionate about something. The second thing is you have to have strong ties to the people who are in the particular fight, if that makes sense. you don't have strong ties, then of course it's like, well, no one else is doing it. All my homies is over there chilling, you know, smoking weed, drinking. I don't know if this AP life is for me. This studying all the time and doing my work all the time thing is for me. But if you have friends in the AP program who are studying all the time, doing your work all the time, then maybe when everyone else is not doing their homework and not like really focused, then that won't be your life. You're next to read. Are you gonna be okay? All right. So, but the whole idea of just activism, period, taking a stand and making standing up for something is you have to have strong ties to people who are standing up for that change as well. Go ahead.
This pattern shows up again and again. One study of the red is at Brigades. Brigades, the Italian terrorist group of the 1970s, found that 78% of recruits had at least one good friend already in the organization. The same is true of the men who joined the Mujahideen.
The J is like an H.
Mujahideen in Afghanistan. Even revolutionary actions that look spontaneous look like the demonstrations in East Germany that led to the fall of the Berlin Wall are at core strong tie phenomena.
So basically, everything that happened that was like really massive and a lot of like things changed, like in Afghanistan with the guerrilla warriors or the people who are in the Islamic Revolution. Most of them have strong ties, like their friends are in it, or their brothers are in it, or their family members are in it, so they're in it. In East Germany, with that phenomena, you have people who are there with the fall of the Berlin Wall that happened like when I was growing up. I know you guys probably don't remember it, but if you watched, what was the movie with the chick this summer? Charlize Theron's movie?
Atomic Blonde.
Atomic Blonde. If you watched Atomic Blonde, you saw that it was I love it. That's a girl. But in that particular movie, the Berlin Wall did collapse. Don't worry, it just meant that you did have a group of people, even if you don't know what it means, a group of people who stood up for something and got something to happen. The Berlin Wall separated groups of people, and they were able to get the Berlin Wall to collapse or go down. Like, they actually broke it down too, and showing that they were like basically saying, we don't want this separate lifestyle. We want to be equal and the same and united, if that makes sense. So that had what he liked to call strong tie bonds too, because you have people who are family members or cousins, and they were all standing up for the same things. All right, next. Oh, she's still going. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
The opposition movement in East Germany consisted of several hundred groups, each with roughly a dozen members. Each group was in limited contact with the others. At the time, only 13% of the groups. The Germans even had a phone.
So remember, you guys are always like, I need my phone. I need my phone. We're talking about times where people were making moves without a phone, without social media. Keep going.
All they knew was that on Monday nights outside St. Nicholas Church in downtown Leipzig, people gathered to voice their anger at the state, and the primarily determinant of who showed up was critical friends. The more friends you had who were critical of the regime, the more likely you were to join the protest.
All right, so your friends, your critical friends, your best friends who are doing this, if you have a lot of those people who are like joining this particular protest, the more likely you're going to join because your friends are doing it. Keep going.
So what would prove in fact about